Did you know user reviews have the highest impact on purchase decisions across generations? This means that people do not rely on product information alone when buying items online, but look for more. This and more interesting takeaways have come from the report titled Shaping Consumer Experience, launched on the sidelines of TICON India Internet Day on 24th of August. To talk about the report, joining us is the author and the man responsible for all those insights, Mohit Joshi, CEO of Havas Media Network, is with us here. Mr. Joshi, thanks very much, sir, for taking time out. My colleague also joining us here in the newsroom. But let me first quickly go to Mohit first. Mohit, run us through the big takeaways of this report. You know, one of the interesting takeaways perhaps that my colleague pointed out when reviewing this report, rather extensive report, I must say, so congratulations on that. But interestingly, when people in tier 2, tier 3 cities are buying items online, they are more likely to buy as opposed to their peers in tier 1 or metro cities. Very interesting for me. It essentially goes on to tell you that when exposed to the idea of internet and e-commerce, people living in more rural parts of India are more inclined to purchase.
Absolutely. So, you know, this research report has been launched yesterday, and it's a combination of qualitative and quantitative inputs that we have got from 700 plus respondents. And there are 5 key findings that I'll first put across. One is that we saw a very different approach across the tiers. So, you know, there is a tier-based shopping pattern. The tier-based shopping pattern in a metro is very different from the way it is in the smaller cities. But as you rightly said, even in the smaller cities, a significant amount of consumers have already started, getting online and buying stuff online. So that's a very, very big revelation that we have realized. And to some extent, this was not a big surprise, because the last 3 years of COVID has made us more technologically savvy, and they have made us look for this convenience of buying online. And this is being reflected not just in the top tier 1, tier 2 cities, but across the country. You have the data costs are very low. People have good mobile sets, so buying online is not an issue, and you have practically everything available online. So that was what came across. The Gen Zs are buying very differently. They have their own way of buying. They look for convenience more than cost. There is a big rise in social commerce. So at one point in time, e-commerce itself was a very big animal that nobody understood. But now people are buying on social sites. So, you know, you see a particular ad on Instagram, and which takes you to the buying point, and you buy it from there. And social commerce has significantly increased, especially for the young consumers, the Gen Zs and the Gen Xs. And all brands today are talking direct to consumer. So many brands which used to just sell on Amazon or Flipkart a few years back, today have their own D2C platforms, because they are realizing that D2C platforms are very important part of their overall communication mix, as well as their brand mix. And there is a huge amount of technological empowerment that's happening, with chatbots coming in, with AI technologies, so people can buy easily. And that's clearly being reflected in the fact that people, even aged people, are going online and buying stuff online. My dad, who's 86, he's buying medicines for himself online. So this is the new India that we are talking about. A lot of it has to do with COVID, because COVID really, I would say, pushed this entire revolution by 6-7 years. Something that should have happened 5-6 years later has happened immediately. But it's here to stay, and e-commerce revolution is a reality. And for that, Havas has launched something called Havas Market, which is a very specific speciality that understands how you should be buying inventory and building brands on online platforms.
Hey Mohit, if you can hear me, hi Kartik Malhotra this side. Just wanted to understand
Hey,
this
Kartik.
trend of of online purchases not being restricted only to these very deep sort of research based products, but also medicines like you just mentioned. So medicines is something that that pharma delivery is something that has picked up. I saw in your report, and add to that the example that you just gave that it's not just restricted to the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z. It's gone well beyond that. So what does this tell us about a technology penetration, internet penetration to the last mile? And add to that, I think this complete change in consumer behavior
The
of not,
confidence.
the confidence and the convenience of not wanting to even go to a neighborhood store to pick up a medicine, and you prefer buying it online.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. So convenience is the biggest thing, and the trust. What the senior citizens lagged on online purchases was trust, because they were used to buying offline by touch and feel. But over the last 3 years, when they were not allowed to go out, they realized there was no other option. And when they saw that the output of that was not bad at all, they started getting more confidence. And this is what happened to all of us, including the senior citizens.
Absolutely, and I'm also very curious to try and find out and decode with you what has Instagram done right. I mean, look at that graph. It has left all its other social media peers behind by miles.
But interestingly, to add to that, people who are perhaps elder than 25 are still going to Facebook to buy. So,
Yeah,
so
sure.
that is interesting. So it's from my understanding of this is that a younger generation, people, and look at that chart, I think that explains it all. People who are in the age group of 25 to 34 still preferring, I suppose, Facebook over Instagram. So what has Instagram done right for the younger ones? And would you
All the
say
way from 18 to 34, I mean, just look at the lead
chart.
that Instagram has
Absolutely.
over the nearest competitor, there again being Facebook, I believe.
right? So Instagram has done something right, but what's the competition looking like between Facebook and Instagram? I think if you could help us understand that.
So Facebook has become like a dinosaur for the Gen Zs, and I interact with the Gen
Okay.
Zs on an ongoing basis, because we have a live panel of Gen Zs at Havas. They feel Facebook is what Orkut was to us, right? So it's old. Insta is the new trend, and there were many more trends that came in. There was Snap trend that came in, but it was not as strong as the Insta trend. Insta still continues, and Insta is driven by images, and that is what people want. So videos, people don't want to read. People want to either see pictures or want to see videos, and that's what Instagram gives you, and that's why the new generation, which does not have the I would say
The
the
legacy,
time to
of
read,
Facebook.
the legacy of reading. They enjoy seeing small form content, and that's the reason why small form content is actually becoming so popular with them, and buying immediately after that.
Just imagine, actually, Instagram has taken the lead even in the 45 plus segment. It's
I'm
only
very
the cohort
surprised by
of
that.
35 to 44. In fact, this is the generation, I'm that generation. I look much older with lesser hair, but I'm of that generation squarely between the 35 to 44.
Are you
when-
buying from Instagram? Are you buying
Actually,
from
no.
Facebook?
So it's Facebook happens to be the lead here, but I'm able to relate to it because this generation was pretty much the first adopter of social media, and after Orkut, like Mohit mentioned,
I don't
Facebook
know
was
what
the
is
only
Orkut.
next best option.
Don't talk to me about Orkut.
So there is one dinosaur here who has grown up in the Facebook generation.
And then that also reminds me, Twitter there is also propping up as a competitor. So while with Instagram and Facebook, Meta's got to win, what happens to Twitter hereafter? Because Twitter is also hoping to be an everything app.
Yeah,
A super app. So perhaps going into e-commerce very, very soon, making its foray already. And people are also buying from Twitter, which is very surprising at this point.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for that super app, for one successful super app, a global sort of, not Baidu, not the Chinese restricted apps, but one super app to emerge in the world. And Twitter may perhaps be one of those early movers when it comes to creating a super app. So Mohit, do you see any sort of signs of Twitter taking off in coming times, or X rather, not Twitter, X taking off in
Yeah,
times to come?
I was about to tell you that itself, because even today I search for Twitter on my phone, and then it takes me a little while to realize that it's no more Twitter, it's X. Well, I'm not too sure. I'll be very honest with you. While they're trying to do a lot of things, the younger audiences have already migrated to Insta. People like us are still between Insta and Facebook, right? So social, as far as social is concerned, or social commerce is concerned, I think between Insta and Facebook, and even YouTube, there is a good amount of it that's happening. Twitter is trying to become a super app. I don't know how fast that will happen. They have also forayed into online commerce, but it has not been very successful in my view, right? Uh, but let me take you to another side of the story. While we are talking about Insta, Facebook, at Havas we are selling trucks online. So can you believe that? And that's something that tells you that e-commerce is not just limited to things that one could have bought, one could have thought one bought online.
Okay.
E-commerce is going to any level where even today you can buy trucks online. When I mean buying truck, you mean giving them a lead zero, which is a lead that actually converts. So lives have changed completely for us, and this is not going to stop.
Right.
So
Mohit,
platforms can change. There can
would it
platform
be
that comes
fair to
tomorrow,
say,
but
Mohit, if you can hear me, would it be fair to say at this point that social media perhaps is overtaking e-commerce apps when it comes to retaining more consumers, perhaps selling more products? Are social media sites becoming new e-commerce platforms?
yes, that's the direction in which they are going. But at this point in time, you still have your Amazons and Flipkarts of the world, which are pretty strong, pretty deep rooted, and have huge tech backing behind them. So it's not that this can be disturbed in a short while, but the very fact that people have started buying online using social platforms is a very big change in itself.
Plus, Mohit, specifically about YouTube, and YouTube also is one tool which is not considered social anymore, even though it's a user-generated content, pretty much works on the same principles as social media. But YouTube seems to have taken every generation along with it, and no exceptions there. So talk to us about YouTube, and is YouTube finally going to replace television, linear television as we know it, and perhaps continue to even rise over OTT platforms when it comes to consumers across all generations, all cohorts, all demographics, all languages, and also translate to buying behavior?
So, it's already started. We don't plan for TV, we plan for audiovisual, because people are consuming audiovisual on traditional TV, on connected TVs, which is the new trend, I would say, on YouTube and other OTT platforms on the small screen. So what is going to happen in the next few years is that connected TVs are really going to become big, and that's my trend. That's a trend that I am seeing. Gen Zs and millennials are going to drive that, because they are the ones who are the ones who've been latched onto internet through OTTs. They are not the ones who've actually transcended from the television to OTTs like we have. So that's a very different generation. We have also started moving from regular television to OTT. So they are cord cutters, they are cord shavers, they are cord nevers. All these the audience demographics, they exist. So in my view, television will still exist, but the way in which it will be used will be different. There'll be more connected TVs. There'll be more OTT platforms. YouTube is also an OTT platform, so I don't want to say YouTube or talk about YouTube separately. OTT is going to become big. Your consumption will move from consumption at a specific time to consumption when you want it. And that's a very big change that is already being seen.
Mohit, it's very heartening to hear almost our words echoing back to us, because the platform you're speaking to right now, incidentally, is a digital-only platform. We are a connected TV, not a satellite TV platform. We are a YouTube platform. We are not a traditional TV platform. And we have the world's first news OTT app called News9 Plus. So very
Hopefully we'll
heartening
cut
to
the
hear
clutter.
that we've also gone pretty much exactly after the same generation of cord cutters and the new sort of users, consumers emerging, which will never see the cord connecting them to any sort of content consumption.
Absolutely.
So heartening to hear that, Mohit. Thank you so much for echoing our views and reiterating for us that we are pretty much in the right business.
And you know, Mohit,
Absolutely. All the best wishes, and I'm sure, you know, I'm a huge believer of connected TVs, OTTs, the way they are coming in, and content getting democratized.
So Mohit, before I let you go, how are advertisers today looking at connected TVs? Are they taking connected TV seriously, or are they still comparing it either to a YouTube or to a traditional satellite channel?
So, you know, it's up to us. We have to educate them properly. If you educate the client and give them a proper logic of why you should be using a connected TV versus a regular TV, you will be able to convince them. And there is a huge shift that has already happened in terms of buying. You see the way cricket is being bought right now. Okay, so when IPL happened, the first time we saw the traditional TV versus the digital war happening around cricket, and each one of them performed. So it's not that that television performed better than OTT. Both of them performed. I think clients have to realize that it's audio visual planning now and not TV planning anymore. And when you plan audio visual, you have to look at all the relevant audiovisual platforms. The traditional TV will continue because, you know, there are those pockets in Bharat that will continue to have you know, single TVs, and hence traditional TV will be there. But the transition towards connected TVs and OTTs is huge. You know, the other day I was in Bombay, and I was going to my hotel in the night, and I was crossing a bridge. Under the bridge, I could see some you know, families who were actually sleeping there. They were homeless and they were sleeping. But I was surprised to see that each one of them had a mobile in their hand and they were watching content. So content watching is something that's, you know, you might not have a house, but you need content. But you need OTT, but you need you know, something to see. So imagine the democratization that OTT has done to content.
I don't quite romanticize poverty, so I'm not sure what to say there. But of course, that is the dichotomy. That is the sort of world that we're living in, where everybody has a phone. They may not have a roof over their head, but very interesting, heartening to note. Mohit Joshi, thanks very much for taking time out, for joining us this afternoon, and congratulations once again on that brilliant report.